Well, how's y'all's day going?
Great.
Maybe better than yours. I'm not sure.
I met my mom for bagels this morning at this new bagel place.
You met Molly for bagels? Maggie for bagels?
I met Maggie for bagels, Maggie and Don.
Oh, Don.
And I got a bagel that had, Michael, I thought about you, smoked beets on it.
Oh!
It was cream cheese, fresh dill.
And he's gone.
His face where he's frozen.
If he does anything more than just a whisper, he's gone. Man, old Don. I was I was looking at that thing on my nightstand. I don't know why it's on my nightstand.
Wow, I'm going to let Don know his books.
Yeah,
on your
well,
nightstand.
I saw that, and I just felt so I was like, oh man, like such a nice gesture. But then, once you kind of talked a little bit about it, I was like, man, thank you, Don, for your gift. I thought it was great.
I want to finish telling you about this bagel because Michael cut out. And you were going to appreciate
I thought that was
this.
the end of the story.
No, it was a rye bagel.
Yeah.
Cream cheese.
Okay.
Smoked golden beets.
Oh.
A lemon drizzle of some kind on top.
Golden beets are much better than red beets.
Pickled red onions and fresh dill.
I'd eat that hard.
Imagine what that would look like. Watch somebody eating that thing hard.
Is it like really furiously chewing? Like how it describe what that would be like?
Or is it just an aggressive overstuff?
No, there's nothing aggressive about it. It's just it's the surety with which I would eat that. I would eat that hard.
Like you'd eat it.
I know.
I'd have to call the cops after watching that.
Yeah. So what's y'all's days been like? Ariel is
Ariel. You're in slow motion. Sorry.
I mean, I had bagels this morning. I can tell you about what I had.
Ariel's kids are out of town. Her husband's back to work. We're the only thing weighing you down, Ariel.
Yeah, that's it.
Stop. You'd be floating into space if we weren't weighing you down.
I'm glad I'm tethered to something. So thank you guys.
You're quite welcome.
We're like that little thin cable that holds.
Yeah.
Where we are.
Just like that. But very strong, it's a strong cable.
He's in such slow motion. I mean, what we're watching happened.
I don't know what
a minute ago.
I'm not next to the router.
You can't see yourself probably, but you are. It is ultra slow motion.
It's like this.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, tell us about your morning.
Oh, my morning? Babysitter out. Not available.
Dang.
Man.
Wife goes to work Tuesdays, Thursdays.
Can't
that leaves me with an 18-and-a-half-month-old. But we had a good morning actually. He's a champ in the morning, and we ate and we played, and then I had to go run some errands. We're going to Georgia tomorrow, and I have a leaky tire, so I had to go get my tire plugged. Shipped our last swag boxes for our bookkeeping course. Dropped those off at the post office and got some coffee. Came home, worked out. It's very hard to work out with a 1.5-year-old on a rower because you're moving at great velocity, and he likes to walk behind me. That's a lot of momentum to come and hit a 1.5-year-old, and it happened a couple times. He likes to stand right behind the rower. So then now he's fighting sleep, but I think he's going to go. So that's been my morning so far.
Yikes.
Yeah, I woke up, I think at 5:50. Micah, he's he's getting to a point, he's leaking, in the morning. If he's awake for too long, he's, his little Buzz Lightyear underpants things are getting a little too full. So he gets a little tiny leakage.
I don't like the fact that Ariel didn't seem to process that.
Yeah.
Surely you could have figured out what he was talking about, Ariel.
It took me a moment. It's just I blocked so much of the period of children that you guys are in. I blocked so much of it out.
What was the first image that came to your mind then? Leaking from where?
Well, no, you said a leaky tire a minute ago. And so I was still stuck on a leaky tire. And then Bobby's talking about his leaky kid. And I'm like,
yeah, you're trying to get it.
You need to go get him plugged too? What's happening?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's legal. So no, he leaked a little bit. So he woke up. He's like, I'm wet. So I went in there, got him up, and then And then, man, what have I done today? I went to the gym. That was great. Played with Micah, ate lunch, and here I am. So I'm having a great day.
Good.
Thanks.
Well, everyone's great.
I like bagels with Maggie.
Maggie and Don.
Maggie and Don.
Yeah.
They got new cell phones. They're very excited about their new cell phones and the new cell service.
What are they upgrading from?
My mom got the new iPhone.
Oh, nice.
And then they switched carriers. They switched to like T-Mobile or something.
But what are they coming from?
My mom had like an iPhone 8.
Oh, okay.
Old school.
Right. So she's
Yeah.
just moving on up in life.
She's moving
Dude.
up in the world. Mm-hmm.
I would kill somebody for a bagel at this point in my life right now.
I have a bag of 7 of them downstairs. I got 2 everything bagels, 2 cherry crunch,
Yeah.
2 rye, and then a Chihuahua cheese one,
I could
and
eat
some
all of those right now.
jalapeno cream cheese.
I could eat all that. I could eat every.
They had a
everything you just said.
Luxardo cherry cream cheese that like
It's not my style, but I do it.
was like $10 for like a tiny thing.
Who cares?
Inflation.
It would have been great.
I like a bagel fine. I really like Bialys more, but like I like a bagel fine. My wife loves bagels, but we recently had a bagel place open up literally 2 minutes from our house, and they have the best bagels I think I've ever had. And I've done a bagel tour in New York. They're so good. Anyway, they have a cacio e pepe that's really good, and they have all kinds of other flavors. But the absolute best, they have a rosemary salt.
Ooh.
Sound crazy, but it is so good. Like the rosemary gets almost like so crisp that like you can taste the rosemary like crunching in your mouth with the salt.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bagels are like super chewy on the outside, but really fluffy on the inside.
I hate this conversation.
They are great
so much.
and they have a 3 onion cream cheese with chives, scallion, and red onion.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
good
speaking of rosemary and salt, my mom does this cookie exchange every year, and there's this one woman who always brings rosemary sugar cookies, and they have like just a tiny bit of like the really thin salt flakes on top, and the rosemary with the sugar and butter and salt. It's really the best thing. What an underrated seasoning or herb. I feel like rosemary's like.
Or like we
know.
use it a lot in a pan with a steak or in a roast, but like to actually like eat it, it's rare that you literally eat the herb itself. But yeah,
Sorry, Bobby.
Yeah, this sucks. I'm having a very hungry day today, like with the stuff. Like you saw what I ate last night. I ate just like chicken, like grilled chicken.
Chicken and protein shakes.
Chicken and a protein shake. I'm gonna have a protein shake. Yeah, I know. It's I guess I'll live vicariously through the two of you.
Does it help would it help if we didn't talk about?
I don't know if it matters because I'm not going to eat it anyway. I don't know. It just, whatever. I'm at the point in like weight loss journey where it starts to like turn a little bit into a grind. Like you go through like, it's like, oh, this is great. I'm super excited. Like, oh, I'm losing weight. Everything's awesome. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh God, man, I've got to force myself to eat 7 ounces of chicken. And then you like kind of go through ebbs and flows. So right now I'm in a hungry, mad at everything state.
Okay.
Food wise.
You're in a good mood though, you said, right?
I am. Yeah. Like
Okay,
outside of
good.
that, because like my pants are a little loose. You know, like I feel good about that. So
don't let them fall down. Not on the table.
there's strings on them. I
Don't
wouldn't do
stand
that.
up and let them fall. Ariel, you just said holiday cookie exchange, and I mean, I'm sure I feel this way every year, but like it's August now, which is wild that this year has like flown by, which means like holidays will be like before we know it.
I know.
And that doesn't feel right.
No.
But some like holiday flavors.
You know, oh man, there isn't like one of my favorite points in the year is when you realize that it's just like a few weeks away from like Thanksgiving food. You know, like you're just like, oh, that's right. I'm going to have like stuffing and cranberries and pies and some turkey. Like, I mean, you can have those any time of the year, but like they are coming for sure in just a few weeks.
Yeah. Well, I get the sentiment. I typically am feeling, I have to make turkey and stuffing and pie and mashed potatoes. I should get my list.
I mean, I like doing all that, and we do it. We don't do that for Thanksgiving, but we do like a Thanksgiving after Thanksgiving where I do get to cook for everyone, and I really enjoy that. Or Christmas or something, I'll do that. But
Other thing, before we go on, just let you guys know, one other thing happened last night that has not happened in all my years. How you like that?
I mean,
it's your own damn fault.
When I saw you without the phone case and you're like, I don't do phone cases, I was like, that seems like...
Well, no, I literally have not had a phone case in 7-8 years. I don't like them, don't need them. And this was my own fault. I was walking in and I sat it on our...
Yeah, you need it.
What?
We think you need a phone case.
Well, you said you don't need them, and like clearly...
No, I don't need them. I haven't had it happen in 7 years, but I sat it on our grill as I was like walking in, and the grill lid slopes. So I just was thinking it was flat and would sit, and it didn't. So kind of my own fault.
Yeah, very much so.
It's like 100. Yeah, definitely your own fault. I'm sorry that happened to you, though.
It's okay. So I have to go to Apple tonight.
Does that bring you a lot of excitement?
No, there's nothing I need at Apple, and they always do that thing where if you are going to get your screen replaced, they go and take it for an hour, like they're going to replace it, and they say, "Oh, we'll give you a new phone," which is like, and then you just have to wait without a phone for an hour. That happens like every time I've ever had to have my screen replaced.
That hour sounds like a good time for Ariel and I to plan some kind of retreat or trip or something.
Yeah, tell us when you're going to be there.
Yeah, what time are you going to be?
Leave me to pick up all the pieces of all the things that weren't considered.
When you say an hour without a phone, I immediately am like, you need a knitting project. This is why you carry around a bag of your little knitting bag with your socks in there that you're working on. You just have with you all the time, and you pull it out, you get an hour of knitting in.
Of me. Go to the Apple store with a bag of yarn and standing over by the AirPods. Standing over by the AirPods.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you wouldn't be the first person to knit in an Apple store while they wait. So you're in good company.
That's true.
I feel nothing from that, but thank you.
All right. Well, I do have a questionable decision for you today. And I have had this on the list for a while, and it hasn't really hit me to bring it up until we had. So just to bring it to my personal life for a moment. So our daughter lives with us. She is 19. She lives with us right now. It's not a long-term thing because several people have reminded me kids don't want to live with their parents forever. And I do need to be reminded of that sometimes. But our daughter's girlfriend just moved in with us as well. And so this felt like a questionable decision to bring to you all. With that is sort of my context. Not that is the questionable decision, but let me read you the questionable decision. All right. This is Dear Penny. Dear Penny, my mom keeps dressing like a landlady and trying to evict me is the title.
Dressing? Dressing like a landlady?
Dressing like a landlady and trying to evict me, which immediately makes me, let me read the question first. Okay. Dear Penny, not wanting to freeload, I suggested that my mom charge me rent. She seemed surprised and she said she'd get back to me on that. Sometime later, she appeared in a rather formal outfit and she said she was now my landlady. She spelled out my rental rates and terms. It was higher than I had planned on, but she conveyed such an air of authority that I didn't argue. Later, when she was back to her normal self, I told her that the rate was too high. She stepped out and returned as the landlady and asked what the problem was. I explained that the rate was more than I can afford. She told me I could either pay it or find somewhere else to live. I decided to forget about rent and hope my mom would also. However, I have now received notices of late rent and eviction. Not caring to interact with her alter ego, I haven't tried to talk with my mom about this. She is normally loving and supportive, but I am afraid she will transform into the landlady and kick me out, or possibly sue me for rent and late fees. Should I pass my mom a note explaining that I love her, but I don't like her alter ego? I'd tell her that I can't afford the rate she's trying to charge me. I would have trouble finding another place to live, and I regret ever mentioning rent. Anything else should I include? From Rent Regrets. So, just...
Okay.
That's such a wild...
I want you to go out I want you to go out immediately to the Goodwill and get yourself a nice sturdy blazer. And I want you to start postmarking these bills to her, mail them to her formally. Maybe even consider certified mail. I think it may be worth the cost.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm not looking for solutions for myself. First of all, just to be clear, it made me think of that, but it also immediately made me think of,
Oh yeah.
You don't have to raise your voice. I can give you half.
which I just love thinking of, this mom dressing up as that like toddler. That's what I would like to believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's go over thoughts. Is this questionable? Which side is questionable or not? Tell me your feelings.
It's interesting because Coral and I, when we first got started out, we lived with her parents. We rented a room from them for a long time. Probably too long, to be honest with you. But like there's some other stuff that was going on that was health-wise. Her dad, had some issues and stuff like that. So we were helping out around the house. But I do think it's like it can be touchy, it can be a very touchy, awkward thing because we had a situation, fortunately, that was like really, really good. Like it worked out really well for everybody. And like we left at, I think, the right time where you start to feel like, okay, this is time to leave. But we also had goals. Like we were doing that with like, I was paying off my student loans. Coral was saving up for our wedding. And like, we were just, you know what I mean? Like we had things we were doing.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of helped. But honestly, like if they had said, hey, you got to pay more, because we kind of just told them like what we thought we could pay or should pay, because we lived in like a 10 by 10 bedroom. And then they were cool with it. And like, we just had that agreement, but if they had been like, no, it's going to be way more. Like, I think the reality is like, it's their house. So if they want more money and I can't afford it or don't want to pay that, then I got to go somewhere else.
Right.
But it's tough though. I don't know. I feel like it's tricky because like as a parent, I could see letting your kid move in with you, specifically if they did have a goal, they're trying to get ahead. I think I really appreciate the time that we spent with them now that I'm getting older. Like I really like that time, even though it was like, even though it was like not the most convenient, like I think that they definitely appreciated spending more time with us. I definitely now appreciate the time that we got with them there. So like, I don't know. It's such a touchy thing. Like, what do you do? I mean, I guess you could just put your foot down, but it's like, is that necessary? But I think it depends on the situation. If you got like a freeloader or a kind of lazy person, then yeah, maybe you have to put your foot down.
Yeah, we lived with Dakelin's parents for several months. I think I moved in with them when I was like 7 or 8 months pregnant. And then we stayed until Marley was like 5 months old. And it was like, he was in school, just had a baby. It was really nice to have like an extra set of hands with the newborn. And Dakelin's mom, cooked and cleaned and did laundry. She was incredible. And we were able to save up to buy a house and everything. And they didn't charge us rent, which, I mean, that looking back on that is like amazing. And, it's why I want to be able to like help out Marley and her girlfriend right now. But so I think it's a wonderful thing if you can help, and it is the time with your family in those situations. It can be difficult, especially in cramped quarters, but it is really special. But the dressing up as a landlady to solve the problem of like, how do I deal with this? I mean, that is like,
it doesn't sound real.
It doesn't sound real, but it's like next level, like disassociation or something. I don't know. Like
it could have been, maybe it started off as a joke and then it got like serious and weird or something.
You guys have got it all backwards here. Oh. This lady is living her life. Her daughter's living with her. She's not asking for rent. The daughter decides, Mom, I should pay something. This mom puts on a costume and takes on an alter ego character and is playing. This is a joke. This is my kind of parenting. This is saying...
Do you think, really?
Of course I do. You think she's serious?
It doesn't sound like... Oh, yeah.
I think there are some wild people out there who handle their kids in wild ways.
You didn't start it. She didn't ask her to pay rent.
Yeah.
She's responding to her daughter in a funny way. She's putting on a character, and she's diving into that character.
But it doesn't sound like it resolved though. Like it doesn't sound like it sounded like it was like there was a discrepancy and then it never got like there was no like, hey, I'm just kidding.
The daughter is a little probably taking it a little too seriously as well, because the woman is not going to send this to small claims court or call the cops to kick her out of her house. I think that this is a funny response to your kid saying,
you think this is a prank?
Yes, I think this is a prank. I don't think this is real at all.
I think it could be a prank, and I think it could be real by a weird person.
I
would think it was real by a weird person doesn't go put on a costume and take on an alter ego. That's a funny thing to do.
Bro, there's a lot of strange people out there.
She's not the one who started the conversation to begin with.
There's a lot of strange, weird people that do strange things. I don't know. I think I err on the side of that. I err on the side of like to me it sounds like I wish there was a little bit. I always wish there's more. Like it sounds like it could have started as a joke and then got serious. Like it could have been like, haha, okay, cool. Yes, I want you to pay $1,200. Actually, your dad and I have been talking about this, and you need to pay $1,200 a month. And it's like, wait a second, what? No. And it's like you're still wearing the stupid costume, but you're like, no, seriously, like we want you to pay $1,200 a month. And it's like, well, I can't afford that. It's like, well, too bad.
Serious. You stop putting on the shoulder padded blazer. No, this is a funny joke. This is like how when your 19-year-old moves back in and they need to move out, but you're not trying to like rush them and they want to kind of like take some responsibility. This is the kind of humor that you meet them with, that I would meet them with.
So like in 16 and a half years, we need to be keeping an eye on the Dear Penny board for like this. My dad locked me out of the house and I don't know how to get back in, and all of my possessions are on the street.
Okay, that's completely different than my mom in a SNL character.
I don't know what kind of jokes you would do.
This makes me think about how, when we launched the first course and I'm doing in the inbox, like dealing with the responding to questions about the course that, or the payment issues or requests. And like, I was like, I need to come up with an alter ego to deal with that. Like, that's what it makes me think about. Like that this mom is like, I'm a little like feeling a little nervous to confront my daughter in this way. So let me get into character. And that's how I will do it. Like, it's like she puts on this costume, this shell on herself. And then she's able to like go in and like, you got to pay me rent. Your rent is due. It is late. And she feels like she can't do it otherwise. Like,
doesn't Beyonce do that? Doesn't she have an alter ego, Sasha something or something?
Sasha Fierce.
Sasha
right?
Fierce.
Yeah.
Which is that is not a great alter ego name.
I think she's like a billionaire, so I think it worked for her. By the way, the course is Proofreading Launchpad. Teaches you how to make $500 to $1,000 a month.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Proofreading for Ariel's our instructor. She's fantastic.
And Ariel no longer responds to customer support emails.
No alter ego needed.
Or maybe I do, but I'm just saying that I don't. My alter ego is something else. But yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, this woman is just trying to protect her emotions, so it's easier for her to go into a different state of being. Like,
you guys take life just more seriously than I do, I guess. Because this is funny. This is hilarious, actually.
I've seen a lot of weird stuff in my lifetime. I've seen, so
thinking
far.
About it as a prank, though, like I do love it. Sort of like
I think it could totally be a prank.
To me, it's, and I think I've kind of stated it, but the mom's wasn't asking for rent. The mom wasn't saying, "Hey, what are you going to do?" According to this story, she's just sitting there living her life, and her daughter comes up and says, "Oh, I kind of want to do something." And instead of going, okay, do what you can, she's kind of making this joke, entering this character. She doesn't really care if the rent is $500 or $2,000. And maybe it's just, to kind of spur, maybe there's a little bit of a teaching lesson in there, but it's just kind of to spur her on to, you want to be a big girl, then be a big girl. But I don't think she really cares, or else she would have been the one bringing it up in the first place. But I don't know. We certainly don't have enough information. What I do know is this is totally my style. One way.
Are you just like looking forward to parenting in the next like 10 years or so? Like when when your child's old enough to like take a joke?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you have like a list of like gags you want to play on them that you've been like workshopping and you're just going to like little notebook?
No, but I probably should start writing them down, huh? Put them
Yeah.
on the calendar, like pre-plan the pranks
Yes.
10 years in advance on my calendar.
Yeah, you might need some planning for some of these things too. Like if you need things like scent or like.
Well, there might also be things I need to like seed throughout his childhood so that I can pull them off when he turns a certain age. So I may really need to play the long game on some of them.
You really do. Okay, so going back to the question and like trying to think about it, it's funny if it is a prank. If it's not, it's crazy, which is also kind of funny.
Yeah.
But how would you handle this situation as a parent? You got a kid who wants to move, who's moving in with you, wants to pay some rent. How do you,
if I'm the daughter or the mom?
navigate? Both. Give me or one side or the other.
If I'm the daughter, I get one of my friends, preferably someone with no facial hair, to paint on a beard and to put on a suit and bring a briefcase. And I bring them in and present them as my lawyer and say, dear landlady, you will now speak to me through my lawyer at all times. And then they can negotiate the terms of the agreement. That's what I'd do if I was the daughter. Mama's got a funny bone. I don't think there's anything serious about it.
Were you asking from like a real world perspective?
I was asking from a real world perspective, but I like what Michael gave us too.
Yeah. I think I would ask, I don't know. I think based on my experience with it, I think that I would ask for some rent. I don't think I would make it egregious, but I would definitely want there to be some kind of goal. Like, hey, like, I'm more than happy to help you. Housing is expensive, it's like, I'm more than happy to help you get your feet, but like, let's come up with a plan. Like, let's figure out how much money we're putting away. Like, I want to create some goals for you and like help you really, get to that next level. And like, I also think this stuff, like, I think that the generosity, because a lot of parents or a lot of people I've heard say like, I would never let my kid live with me. And like, I think there's a lot of factors to it, and like how your kid is and how you are and do you get along and all that. But I do think that generosity of like letting somebody do that, I think it, like, we all get old, and I think a lot of people rely on their kids as they age. And I think it's kind of paying it forward a little bit because like my mother-in-law, like she's like a made woman to me. Like I will always help her because they, her and my father-in-law helped us when we were getting started. Like, I wouldn't own this company. I wouldn't have been able to do anything, that I've done, I think, to this point. So like, I think that if you do it right, not that you should do it so that you get good things later, but like, I do think that just is a byproduct of it. If you are generous, I think that generosity kind of swings back the other way.
Just walking past that window?
No.
Sorry,
we start talking about real stuff and he was like, I can't listen to this. So yeah, anyway, I don't know. I think it's a very, if done with some goals or just with some, just purely to help somebody out, like, I think it can be fantastic. Like, I don't know, life's short, you want to be with your kids, I think, as long as you can.
I think
until they're tired of you,
Yeah. And I mean, you can get tired of them as well. And then you have to have conversations as well. It's been interesting, like sort of being in this scenario, very much in this scenario with an adult child living with you. It's one of the nicest things is that my relationship with my daughter has never been better. It is like, we like to hang out. Like, I feel like we are friends in a way that we weren't when she was in high school still. And so I'm really appreciating that. And I think she feels it too. So I'm really loving that. She also is, is gotten a better relationship with her siblings as well, which is great. And then I've gotten to know her girlfriend really well, which is really nice. But, we do have conversations about like sort of expectations for, there are more responsibilities around the house that you have to take care of because we all are living together. We all have to be responsible for things. And this is you have to take care of your things. And so that's part of it. And then when we have conversations about rent, this is my husband and I talking about it. It's like, our thought is that we will probably do something at some point if we have to start charging rent, probably because it's like she's been here longer than we would hope her to be, would be our perfect situation. Rent goes into savings for her that then, when she's ready to move on with the next step of her life, we can present her with some money that's kind of set aside for her that can help her.
She's not going to listen to this episode.
Yeah, I was about to say, does she ever?
No, she told me last night. I was reviewing our last episode, by the way. So, Michael, that's been reviewed. And I was like...
Just throw that shade out on the podcast?
Well, we were talking about it yesterday. I wasn't sure if it was me or you, and it wasn't kind of like settled. But Marley came in and she goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm listening to this podcast." And she goes, "The worst podcast in the world?"
Charged.
That child. Oh man, in person, she is wonderful, and I thought she was awesome, but not in person. I'm like, oh.
So yeah. Point being, she's not listening to this podcast. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I think that's cool too. I think if you can set them up, help them out.
You do what works for you and your situation. And, 100%. For maybe this Dear Penny question, this, questioner, it's dressing up, having her.
Are they upstairs?
Like a landlady.
Now that I know your house, are they upstairs?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you should put them in the basement? I can see, if you had a basement, I think it would be so much easier, to do, because we don't have basements in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if my kid was living with me, I'd be like, look, you go down there, you make that basement livable, and you can rent it. Whatever.
Or if they plan to live with you for a year, and you know that doing a little simple renovation would be $10,000. You divide that up.
They pay the rent on that or something.
Yeah, something like that. And then you get
you should be finding a way.
I don't know if I would actually do that. It just sounds like kind of a cool idea. Just because I've always wanted.
Yeah, I was just thinking that's a great idea. Wait a second.
I mean, get them to move the stuff into another place and then renovate the thing, and then they've got their a whole floor to themselves, and nobody feels like they're. Nobody feels like they're on top of each other.
You have to better the place while you're here. That could be a great.
That could be nice. Yeah, that could actually be really cool.
That way,
we do have an attic that could be, turned into a living space. Could have a third floor.
Yeah, because that's
you can learn construction.
I mean, that's a skill. That's a trade that, then you can then.
You're just trying to help them, in their life to have another skill.
You're not in college right now. Here you go. Here's what you're doing. Here's your trade school.
Yeah, if you have the space for it, that's actually kind of cool. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, or really, you want to build a deck for me? You want to dig a trench?
You want to talk shit, Marley? We're going to put you to work.
All right. When Declan gets home, we're going to walk around this house and make a list of possible, possible projects. I love it.
Why did she call it the worst podcast in the world? Why? Who hurt her? What is going on?
Because she's being funny. Because she's the landlady.
Oh. Mm-hmm. So everything's just a joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In our house, we say I love you by making fun of each other. So
okay, that makes sense.
Thank you for listening to Questionable Decisions. We are coming out with all sorts of awesome content. We got YouTube videos. You can go back and listen to other podcast episodes. We got lots of information in the description where you can find these things. So check out the description. Click on the links in there. Follow us, find us, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.